trauma that's in these. But either way, when they first come into it, they feel good. There's a sense of community, and there's people that will stroke their victimhood.
Family members do not want to be accused of being flying monkeys because then they're worried they're going to be estranged from the child.
So she's directly been called a narcissist before. A flying monkey is kind of a term that it runs in the explanation of narcissism, where a victim narcissist in particular, they will recruit other people to do their dirty work for them. So, for example, here's an interesting one. This is just gonna be a very small demographic of people, but the people that it hits, oh, you're gonna hate this one. Let's say you have an extremely narcissistic dad or mom that's like very victim-y, and their spouse ultimately ends up getting out of the marriage, and then that parent ends up marrying another person, right? They are going to marry a person that has probably been abused or is okay with their abuse and their toxicity. So now they have a partner that they're manipulating like a puppet. And now if you're in the home, you're gonna get ganged up on by that parent and then their spouse, their new spouse. So stepmom or stepdad and victim parent are gonna gang up on you, and they're gonna make the stepdad or stepmom basically defend them. Like I said, a really good example of this is the insane narcissistic mom loses it video, right? So we have the extremely controlling narcissistic mom. She has recruited and trained the stepdad to defend her at all times. So now you have these two parents in your face that are constantly telling you, you're the problem, okay? So that's an example of like what the flying monkeys look like, and the fact that she says that exact phrase means that she's been accused of being a narcissist before. And also, I want to mention this too. I know that a lot of people online throw around the term narcissism or narc da-da-da-da. Remember this, I am not diagnosing anybody. I do not have a patient in front of me. We just call out certain signs around things that might be very triggering for others that other people have experienced before. And at the end of the day, if people go around saying, well, you can't call somebody a narcissist or you can't see somebody's being narcissistic, then these people get to get away with the behavior under the guise of, well, you can't call that out. You can't say that. The people that have experienced it know exactly what that is. And you gotta let them call it out. Otherwise, these people get to walk the earth with absolutely no accountability. Oh my God, I told you I'm gonna lose it. I'm 41 seconds in! And my knees is so itchy. I'm having a allergic reaction to something.
So it's just not a good place. I will share that I was estranged for close to 2 years, a better part of 2 years before I started doing anything on TikTok. And I've had a lot of people asking, well, what is your estrangement story? Because they want to know. However, my children's flying monkey has made it quite clear that I'm doing a smear campaign if I'm sharing my part of the story. That's how they feel.
Here's another thing. With people, I'm just gonna say it like this bitch is a narc, okay? With narcissistic people, they wanna know so bad, what did I do? What's the problem? Just tell me. You can't do that, okay? You can't do that because basically what you're doing is you're giving them the contract so that they can negotiate it. You're giving them the fuel of why you're not talking to them. So it sounds like the people on the other end here, her son and maybe their spouse or something, they were like, no, your mom's a narc. And they tried to explain it to her. And then she was like, well, actually, you're the narcissist. You're the flying monkey. You're the stonewaller. You're the this. Can't explain it to them. If you want them out of your life, you just got to shut it down.
They accused me of doing a smear campaign before I talked to anybody about my estrangement. So I'm not sure even where that came from, because that was long before TikTok. However,
oh my God.
As I was thinking of a way that I could share why I'm estranged,
the way I can rewrite history.
My daughter-in-law's own words that she posted on a public platform. And they were talking about me, and so people knew who I was as she shared this, and these were her words. She said, that's good he's coming around. This was in reference to someone else's husband coming around about his mother. I know my husband took a while to understand that she was never going to change. Mm-hmm. I was patient up to a point, but put my foot down when it started affecting my physical and mental health while pregnant.
Dude, I gotta know, has anyone ever gotten into a relationship with somebody that was wonderful, amazing, fantastic, but then they had like a narc parent, and then you start moving towards like the wedding or something, and this parent is just butting in. That sounds like a nightmare.
While pregnant, my daughter-in-law became pregnant with my granddaughter a month after I suffered a severe concussion.
Victim! Here's the victim!
Severe concussion.
Oh my God.
I have my concussion story that I shared just recently, and it's also in my in one of the playlists under concussion.
Concussion
The
playlist?
concussion.
Concussion playlist? Concussion playlist!
One of my treating doctors, when I was in a psychosis, called it a happy
Concussion TBI psychosis playlist? Oh my God, it screams victim. Victim of the year. Also, I love, she's also a one-upper. The daughter, or the stepdaughter, said that she was pregnant just to explain the state that she was in. She's trying to carry her child to term. She wants the child to be happy. She can't be going through this stress. She was just explaining the situation. And this mom's like, excuse me, I had a concussion. And also, if that wasn't enough, I also had psychosis. And one of my doctors said that it was the worst he ever seen. So, sorry you were pregnant while you were talking shit about me. But, like, that, literally, that's her mindset. What a piece of shit.
I had a concussion a year prior, and I have an ultra-rare disease that affects acetylcholine in my body.
Oh, the acetylcholine.
Chemicals in my brain,
Okay.
as well in your brain, and everyone's brains.
Yep.
So my doctors don't know if that's why my reaction to my concussion and prolonged recovery was a part of it. The reason I bring this up is during my concussion recovery, my behavior was erratic. My behavior was dramatic.
You've lost everything. Reclaim the objective.
Oh, it was dramatic. So she's claiming that this was a one-time event. That's not how she normally is. This was a one-time event. And I'm not gonna be like that anymore if you just let me back in. And if I do it again, it's probably because something really bad happened to me. You should feel bad for me. And you need to forgive me. And then, after you forgive me, then I'm gonna do it again. And something really bad happens. I'm gonna need you to forgive me. Like, that's literally the fucking...
My behavior was uncontrollable by me. When you're in mania, you can't control what you're doing. When you're in a PTSD episode and you've never had one before, you don't know what's going on.
Is it a concussion? Is it psychosis? Is it bipolar? Or is it PTSD? Or did we just suddenly have all of these ailments at once? Is it possible to have all of those at once? Sure. Do I believe that she had all of those things at once and that's why she was acting erratic? No, I don't believe that. I personally do not believe this. This is an attempt to take very real mental health things that happen to people and attribute it to herself so she can escape accountability for her own behaviors.
That is very difficult. When you almost die. Brought on the PTSD episode. And prior to my concussion, I had been working with my therapist for years, trying to improve my relationship with my children. And he said to me two things. He said, I think that your ex-husband has done a number on your children.
Everybody else's fault.
And he said to me, I don't think your daughter-in-law is on your side.
My man was trying to keep clients, okay? She was paying $200 an appointment out of pocket, no insurance, and he said, I'll tell you whatever you want to hear if you just keep coming back and swiping that card. Either that or he ain't say that. I'm not buying that. And also, this is another thing too. People that like legitimately have like narcissism, a lot of times therapists won't say it. Some will. Some people legitimately get diagnosed with it. But sometimes therapists don't want to say it because they think a person that has like legitimate NPD is like, not saying that's necessarily her, but just in this situation, they think that if they say that to a patient, they may not come back. You know, they really think they may not come back. unless they are ready and prepared to deal with that, they're probably just gonna be like, oh my god, that's crazy. Especially if you go to somebody that like just does general like CBT, they don't know how to respond to that.
My behaviors once I had my brain injury were horrible, and I wish that they hadn't happened. I really do, and I've apologized. People say, have you apologized? Well, yes, I've apologized. Now, my brain injury took me well over 2 years to get to the point that I was not dealing with symptoms on a daily basis. Well over 2 years. Emotional overload happened incredibly easily, and it was the most difficult time in my life. I feel horrible that my behaviors affected their pregnancy. And again, I've apologized to them a million times.
It's my understanding that all 3 of her kids are not talking. Okay, that's my understanding. So we're focused on this one and this one moment in time. People, when they've gone over the deep end and they've done something super, super bad, they'll focus on this one moment. But when we make the choice to cut somebody off, we're not only looking at this one moment, we're looking at an entire history of how you made us feel. And we're not choosing to hurt you. We're not choosing to just let go of you. What we're doing is we're choosing peace, and we're choosing to move on to another era in our life that is healthy. It's super difficult. And so her boiling everything down to this one moment, if anything, it means that she no longer cares about fixing this relationship with her kids, but rather she's concerned with how the public sees her and how she can siphon victimhood from other people. Because you know damn well it wasn't just one situation.
But she said it right there. She put her foot down when she was pregnant. And my behaviors, while I was recovering from a brain injury, were more than she could handle emotionally or physically. So it's right there. At the point when I finally was not having daily symptoms and actually could start to live my life again, I was estranged from 2 of my children. And when
they got through to them. That's what it was. They got through to them. And like, look, if she didn't do anything wrong ever, they wouldn't have cut her off.
Third went no contact. He had said to me beforehand, he had said, that his childhood experience was not the same as his brothers. But they are all each other's best friends.
Oh.
All of them. And the things that he said to me when he went no contact, he had never said to me before. Said I was emotionally abusive. Yep. I will admit to being emotionally neglectful because I was raising 3 children by myself with no help from anyone. From the time they were in lower elementary school, 2 of them weren't even in school. And I knew that I was letting them down. I've done lots of deep dives into where I could have improved my behavior as a mother. All I ever wanted to be was a mom.
Dude, I'm not gonna make it. If this video is triggering to you or you recognize this human being in someone you may know, if you just needed to hear it, I'm not giving advice on anything. I'm just gonna tell you to Google something, okay? I want you to Google the phrase covert victim narcissist, okay? Just Google it, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. Just open your eyes real wide and just start reading that, okay?
And I knew I was falling short. I went to therapy and would cry to my therapist about falling short. And my therapist looked at me and said, you're giving your kids something you never had. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? And I said, well, you're giving them a mom. However, as she said in that post, she put her foot down when she was pregnant. And that's why I'm estranged.
I love how all 3 of her kids stopped talking to her, all 3 of her sons, but somehow it's her son's spouse. That's the reason why. God bless that woman. Whoever she is, God bless her. Okay, you know what? I need to wash my hands a little bit on this. We need to look at the comments. Okay. Can anyone help us? Can anyone in the comments give us some clarity? Someone said, "Hi, sorry if I missed it, but what does her concussion have to do with her pregnancy?" Amen. The usage of flying monkeys says so much. Yikes. Hi, my partner was hit by a car and has severe TBI. Not once have they used this as an excuse to not apologize for their behavior. Next one. This is the longest non-apologetic, non-regretful storytelling I have ever heard. It has been 4 years without speaking to my birth giver. Oh, they're gone. Someone else said, this video told me everything I needed to know about you. I wish your children nothing but happiness and healing. I'm proud of them for setting boundaries. Somebody said, as a boundary-holding daughter, this comment section is so validated. Yes! Oh, wait. This is my favorite one. One person said, this seems like a super good way to rebuild their relationship. And then this person said, this explained nothing but everything at the same time. Oh my God, dude, that's so good. Oh. Estranged parents are so annoying. All these troubling words surrounding me.
Who wakes up and needs to be worshipped today by the other estranged parents?
If you have like a family member that self-victimizes themselves and never takes accountability for anything, you will lose your mind reading estranged parent like forums. I went into them one day curiously, and I don't even think I could get through 2 posts. I couldn't do it. I absolutely couldn't do it. So we're gonna watch a video. Reminder, estranged parents, not to be confused with parents that, you know, maybe they're not in contact with their kids anymore, and there's a multitude of like conscious family issues. It could be like drug use. It could be, you know, something really bad happened and people haven't worked through it yet. But these people are different. They are truly a special breed. Oh God, I'm so scared. This video is a produced video from an estranged parent. And her description says, you are not alone. It's devastating to be a parent estranged from your adult child whom you raised with love and good faith. This is my story. I put money down that this video is in some way hurting the child. Eat stress-free this summer with Factor. Fresh, never frozen, and delivered straight to your doorstep. It doesn't get any better than that. I like when it easy money comes my way, but I will say I do love looking in the fridge and picking out something tasty. And look, you do not miss that experience with Factor. Whether you get the Calorie Smart or the Chef's Choice, they send you an abundance of meals each week, and you can pick whatever you're craving at the moment. Chicken piccata. Chicken piccata. Never mind that there's no mess, no cleanup, no delivery times that you have to wait for. You just pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes and it's ready to go. But wait, there's more. You're not gonna believe this. They also offer snack options. You can get protein bars, small snacks, and my personal favorite, the smoothies, delivered straight to your doorstep. Now, look, there's still room if you wanna go out and have a little meal or something on the town, but it's 2024. They're charging way too much money at the restaurants. I'd rather just eat at home with Factor. And look, if you want something gourmet, try the Gourmet Plus meals. As a little add-on, you can have filet mignon, shrimp, truffle butter, broccolini. That's the fancy broccoli. All you gotta do is add it on for the week. And if you decide you don't want it the next week, you know, cutting a little bit of cost, I feel ya. Just deselect it and do your chef's choice the next week. It's that easy. One thing I've learned this year is dieting is hard, okay? It's super hard. If you've never done it before, you're gonna be sitting around like, oh my God, why am I not shedding any pounds? It's because on top of a little bit of exercise, you wanna have your meals curated. And Factor has that option with the Calorie Smart meals. You can trust they're dietitian approved, and if you follow those consistently for a while, you might start to see some results. That's my absolute favorite thing about Factor, outside of the, you know, no cleanup, no mess, no delivery times. You can't go wrong with it. So hey, get 50% off of your first box, and then let's follow it up with 20% off of your next box. All you gotta do is use my code BOZE50. That's right, 50% off your first box, 20% off your second box, and click the link in the description. It should automatically put my code in, but just to make sure, use BOZE50.
I really thought I could get through this without crying.
27% of American adults have cut contact with a family member, lasting an average 4.5 years. I never dreamed I'd be part of that statistic.
I never thought my child would wake up from the abuse. I thought they would just keep taking it.
Dear parents, I need to take 100
All my life, I stand for about what I need to say. I need to know how you're hurt my mental health. Not it's bad. My life really because of you.
I like how in the literal production of this, they're saying things that the child said to them. You ruined my life. You gaslit me. You hurt my mental health. And they present it as a production of a muddled script. Like, these words mean nothing. Listen to all these horrible things. Blah, 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 blah. But like, these are all like very valid things. Like, you were gaslighting your kid. You hurt their mental health. You made them X, Y, and Z. Like, that shouldn't be presented to you as, oh, these troubling words surrounding me.
90% of the letter was about politics and how we couldn't be in her life if we supported that guy. This kind of angry outburst from her was so out of character, we were shocked. We just didn't know what to do. I mean, I thought I was a good mom. Not perfect, but pretty good.
Honestly, I was in denial at this point because I thought this was more a thing between her and my husband Ted, because I'm not that political at all. So I thought we could still have a relationship.
So one day I responded positively to one of her Facebook posts, like normal, thinking that the letter was just some one-off thing that would blow up.
Oh, that right there. That's it. That is the egotistical, self-victimizing parent. Oh, it's all right there. They think, oh, she was just having an episode. Oh, she'll get over it. Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He just needs a little time. Let me just inch my way back in and see if they forgot how abusive I am. Oh, I'm back.
Hello, my strange little onions, you ask. So I'm delivering another installment of creepy conservative men who come into my DMs because they think I'm a woman. By now, you know the drill. Once upon a DM notification. Hey, Floozy. He said, but he did not say Floozy. Hello, liberal. I said. The hell? I am not a liberal. He said. I'm sorry. I thought we were playing a game where we made deliberate false statements about the other in a targeted manner to lower their self-esteem and get under their skin. I said. LOL. Apology accepted. He said. There you go, misunderstanding me again, although this time I will take some responsibility because I did say the words I'm sorry when I wasn't actually sorry. And even though you called me a floozy, I did not take offense by that because I'm not a floozy, but I do view sex work as real work. I said, okay, only a libtard would think that sex work is real work. It's criminal activity that leads to the destruction of society and human trafficking. He said, yes, prostitution is illegal in our country now, but people still solicit prostitutes and people still are prostitutes, so isn't that kind of argument you make about guns? The bad guy will always find a way to get a gun. Well, they're finding that way now. Also, other countries where they've made prostitution legal don't have human trafficking problems. Typical libtard with the false equivalencies. He said, you called me a floozy and expected me to act like a floozy. For you, for free. That doesn't sound like capitalism to me. I'm sorry. I had no idea you were a socialist. I said, I'm not a socialist. I just don't believe we should legalize criminals. He said, it truly is fascinating how floozies settled the wild, wild west and made it society as we know today. But the patriarchal system squashed that and said the two things that women have long been able to commodify, beauty and sex, will now be illegal to do so. I said, I don't know why he blocked me. Thank you for watching, my strange little onions. Trolls are trolling again, so help keep me on the right side of TikTok. Like, comment, maybe send it to a friend, and consider subscribing if you like it. I love you. Have a hug, a cookie, and a juice box. Mwah.
I got a toe back in the door. Like, that's literally what that was. Oh my God, these people love to minimize your feelings.
That the letter was just some one-off thing that would blow over. But she unfriended me and followed up with a text that said something like, you don't get to stay in my life. I'm keeping this number for family emergencies only.
don't contact me.
Yep.
Ted's sister got involved to see if she could help, but Haley immediately unfriended her, which was surprising because the two of them were politically aligned. Friends offered to step in.
Yeah, because you're a and she didn't want to be friends with you. Like, that's why. Here's the thing, sometimes your kid just does need a break. Like, whether it's your kid or whether it's you, sometimes you just need a break, you know? A couple months or a couple years away from that parent so you can get out of the toxic cycle and decide what you're gonna allow in your life and what you're not. It doesn't, sometimes the hard no contact is so that you can see things more clearly and create better structure, better boundaries, and a healthier relationship. And so somebody like violating that time that you're asking for, it's just awesome. Like, you're gonna buy yourself more time in the slammer, bro.
I'd say something on our behalf, but after what happened to Ted's sister, we just said no. A couple weeks later, she did not wish me happy birthday for the very first time. This wound was so fresh, I couldn't even say one when we talked about it.
I've even had some people really close to me decide to move on from me.
Securing objective Bravo.
Okay. It's in the script. You watch this back and this wasn't a red flag to you?
And that's the hardest of all.
Taking Charlie.
In November, I texted her that we were going to Montana to see her sister for Thanksgiving and that she was warmly invited, but if we didn't hear back, we'd assume she wasn't interested. Silence.
Enemies taking Bravo.
In December, I texted Merry Christmas and told her that we loved her. Silence. So that winter, I emailed her a few times, mostly personal development stuff.
Dude.
Enemies taking Alpha.
So your kid cut you off because they thought that you were toxic and your solution was to send them personal development stuff because you think they need help.
Objective Bravo is compromised. Get it back.
I'll jump right now. I will down the stairs. That's all. Well, two stairs. Okay, I'm fine. And this is like if you were to cut your parents off, like, and then they started sending you Bible verses about how you'll get through it. Oh my God, I would lose my mind.
Objective Charlie secure. Lost Alpha.
Around this time, I started
Oh my God, she sent her self-love affirmation.
Objective secure. We're losing
Around
Charlie.
this time, I started watching videos on estrangement to see if I could figure out what was going on.
Enemies taking Bravo.
Intermittently, because I think I was still in denial.
Close some tabs.
Come back in time. And it seemed appropriate to reach out occasionally to let her know I loved her because that's what moms are supposed to do, right?
It's not appropriate. It's boundary violating. When the child puts down a boundary and says, do not contact me, and you continue to contact them out of love, it's pushing boundaries under the guise of love. That's not appropriate. Leave them alone.
I mean, I try to maintain contact.
Oh my God, she's a victim.
Shut it down.
The longer this went on, the more real it began to feel.
That also, the longer this went on, the longer she didn't get over it, the longer that she made all this up in her head, the longer that she was being silly. Yeah, if you want somebody like this to take you seriously, they need to go sit in a corner, and then you don't stare at them while they're sitting in the corner. You ignore them and walk away and say, now go entertain yourself. Like, but unfortunately, this is what this mother chose to do after she went to go entertain herself. I think that this is also another form of abuse because part of the abuse is victimizing yourself to the child so that it's like, you're not the problem, they are. And now she's doing this on a public scale. I accept this from the Fiona Harvey video. Going public with that stuff was another form of abuse, punishment. Punishment for cutting me off. You will feel punishment for hurting me because I'm so sweet and innocent. That's what this is, man. Sneaky little lady.
And there was just this cauldron of emotions, horrible emotions, shock and shame, anger, denial.
Wait, oh sorry. Min said they're dealing with this too, and your empathetic comments have helped me think a bit more about it. Okay, if you're in this situation, I need you to play this snippet, I don't know what I'm gonna say, in your head, okay? Get out! Get out! This is a toxic relationship! You're being abused! Get out!
Enemies
Shock
securing
and
Bravo.
shame, anger, denial, sadness, depression, betrayal. It was so hard to process.
Objective Bravo
I joined some
compromised.
parental
Get it
estrangement
back.
groups on Facebook to see how other parents were coping, and while it was nice to know that I wasn't
Her joining parental estrangement groups is her finding, like, the common thread is that they're all self-victimizing because people stop having relationships with their kid for multitudes of reasons. The only reason is not just like narcissistic abuse or something like that, or you know, a toxic parents or anything. That's not the only reason why. So you guys all getting together on that one thing. Family dynamics are incredibly complicated. So all you guys are just like, all they're doing are just stroking their little victim weenies. Like, that's all they're fucking doing. Like, oh, and I bet you, oh, I bet you, baby, it's not in the forums. The juice isn't in the forums. The tea isn't in the forums. The stuff I want to read, it's not in the forums. It's in the little group chats, right? Because who fucking wakes up and needs to be the biggest victim today? Who wakes up and needs to be worshipped today by the other estranged parents? But we can't do that because we're all victims and we're all the biggest victim. Like, they get into stroking what? Their victimhood. Okay? They get into little fights all the time. I know it because they need to be the most important. That's what the relationship is with the toxic parent. They're fully in control. They're the most important. They're the all-seeing, all-knowing, everything. So when you put that in a group with other people that operate the same way, they're going to get fights. Estranged parents, leak the DMs to me. Whoever you hate, leak them to me. Send it to my public email.
other parents were coping, and while it was nice to know that I wasn't alone, I could not spend too much time there because it was all the same misery that I felt. So horribly sad and depressing. There were just broken hearts everywhere. I could not face all that pain. Sadly, at one point, I had to text her.
Oh my god, dude. Someone said, someone go undercover.
At one point, I had to text her to let her know Grandpa died, Ted's dad. She'd had a good relationship with him. I was very matter of fact about it. He died. There's a memorial. With his own link. This was still during COVID. She did attend, to her credit. We were glad to see her there, although we didn't see her there. She didn't have her camera on. She didn't say anything. She was there. I sent her a text wishing her happy birthday and telling her I loved her.
Holidays are an opportunity for these pieces of shit to slide back in. Birthdays, Thanksgiving. I was just thinking about that because, well, never mind. It's an opportunity, right? I mean, they're also opportunistic.
I was so sad on her birthday. This is a very special day for me, too. It's the day I first became a mother.
I love how it's her birthday. It's her daughter's birthday. But for her, this is the day that I became a mother.
I am your mother!
Who says that? I've never heard anybody say that before about their child's birthday. Like, sure, it is the day that you became the mother.
My way of saying, I still love you, I still think about you, but I don't want to intrude in your space. And instead of buying her a present for her birthday every year, it's probably gonna sound stupid, but I buy myself a present for his birthday every year.
I'll let you process that one.
It's a consolation prize. Mother's Day 2021 also passed in silence for the very first time. By now, I had moved from shock and shame into feeling this kind of low-level anger, definitely resentment, and, yeah, betrayal.
The music's changing.
My husband may have texted her once or twice that summer, but I did not.
Okay.
On the
She's
1
fine.
anniversary of her angry letter, I emailed my sad letter response.
Her angry letter on the 1 year anniversary of her angry letter. Not her feelings, not a conversation to be had. her angry little letter. So I sent my sad letter. God, what a piece of shit. I also feel like these people can be extremely manipulative with love. I love you. I care about you. And they say a lot of sweet things while abusing you in the most subtle ways possible. It's disgusting. I'm being abused by this video still having another 11 minutes.
I started off with a story about the time I saved her from choking to death on a candy wrapper when she was a baby.
That's your job as a mom, stupid.
Way to start, but I didn't know. Then I went in.
That almost strikes me as being angry, like, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. I did work, I saved you from choking on that nugget, and otherwise, you'd be fucking dead. So why don't you pick up that little pen and write me a freaking letter, Haley?
I don't know everything, but I did the best I could, reasoning. Then I went on to calmly address some of the points in her letter. I apologized for not being the parent she needed, but I also expressed dismay at her level of intolerance, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I wanted to be honest. And
I can't believe that you can't handle this level of toxicity. I didn't raise you this way. You're supposed to be my punching bag. You're supposed to keep taking it. I need you, so I need you to feel bad about this so you can come back and I can just keep hitting you. I can just keep hitting you.
Basically,
That's definitely a lot of information we're not getting at all. We're not getting the daughter's side of the story at all.
Once again, which is sad because she was the one who always remembered everybody's birthdays in the family, even my dad's, who she hardly knew. Around this time, we discovered her TikTok, which I have to confess was strange and difficult to digest because she does a lot of exotic cosplay. And I couldn't help myself. I binge watched a bunch of them, then combed through all the comments looking for any mention of us. It was pretty commentary.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
Annoyed at being relegated to the status of random internet viewer, but I was glad that I could see her. In November, my husband and I caught the super nasty Delta version of COVID. It was truly awful for me, but way, way worse for Ted.
Concussion
We're
playlist.
talking hospitals, paramedics.
Concussion playlist
it got
vibes.
so bad, I texted her. I told her that she should call Daddy-O because he had...
You should call me because she can't be vulnerable in that way. That's another thing. These people cannot be vulnerable at all. So she doesn't say, I'm very sick. Please call me. She says, you should call your dad.
COVID, and he wasn't doing well at all. He was really struggling, and it was scary.
Okay.
She did call, which was a miracle. But apparently she was almost like an automaton.
She didn't care.
Dead inside. I don't know, kind of like a robot. I mean, Ted really
immune to your tactics at this point. God, they get so fucking mad.
The call, don't get me wrong, really appreciated that call. It meant so much to him.
We need the daughter's side of the story. Like, people just don't do this like out of the air. Oh, why are you doing this? Come on.
Ted texted her after he recovered to thank her for calling, but she didn't respond.
Oh my God, y'all did bad. Y'all did really bad.
My dad died on Christmas Day, but I didn't bother to tell Haley because she didn't really know him. He was a sweet guy, but kind of an odd duck living in his own world. But he was my dad, and it was really hard to watch him die.
She reversed that part.
And the one gift that you get out of that typically is that it makes you realize how short and precious life is. I'm older. I'm in my 50s. I mean, mortality is right there. When you're a kid, you look at your parents like these big, all-knowing people, and then when you get to be an adult, you realize, oh my God, they're flawed. And there's a breakaway period where you break away and you're like, get away from me.
Dude, also her saying, you get to a point where you realize that your parents are flawed. It's like she's so close to admitting that she's doing something wrong, but instead she chooses verbiage like, they're flawed. We're flawed. As though it's like it's a self-victimizing thing again. It's so subtle. It's like on the brink of accountability. But you mix it up with a little bit of denial, and then she just switches to, I'm flawed. I'm sorry. It's so.
The have some videos to watch about.
Sorry, I'm not curvy enough for you. Oh, yeah, that's
Think about it. I didn't think
So I was rooting for Dad that winter, but also for Haley, who didn't seem to care. I texted her happy birthday and told her that I loved her, which was my only attempt at contact that entire year. Silence.
Yep.
So of course I had to peek at TikTok. I read all her birthday comments, and she seemed to have a lot of fans sending her presents. We have been replaced by fans. I ordered Joshua Holmes' book, Rules of Estrangement, scanned a couple of chapters out of order, including the amends letter section, which I could not stomach because it required far too much contrition. Like, it's all the parents' fault.
She couldn't stomach the accountability. Then you don't have a relationship with your child that much. If your pride is so big that you can't get down on one knee for the relationship that you claim to cherish the most, then you have to f off. And don't get me wrong, it's not easy for the child either, but you have to go. Because you know what, at the end of the day, that means that you're choosing your pride and your ego over your child. And my God, can some of these people make great parents if they were to bend the knee?
Don't let it happen again, bend the knee.
And like be honest with themselves. It is their ego and their pride that is just completely getting in the way.
No contact. I threw myself into a new YouTube channel and took a month-long camping trip around the U.S. After my dad dying and losing Haley, I just needed to get out and start living my own dreams now.
Yes, she did need to do that. And if she did, honestly, this lady may never change. You know, sometimes they say like people are who they are after 25 or 30 or something like that. There's a chance that she may never change. But I think that if she hadn't joined those estranged parent groups and saw the opportunity to be a victim and get some kind of source from somewhere else, like maybe going the fuck outside and doing a month-long camping trip and being with herself and losing her parent might have done something. Because sometimes we have to hit rock bottom to become a new version of ourselves, right? That's normal. That's fine. That's fantastic. But instead, she went off into la-la land.
Before it's too late. I brought the Pullman book with me on this adventure, but I didn't read it. I was still low-level bitter and resentful over being ghosted. On my birthday, which passed again in silence, I went for a hike.
And 2 years later, she's still not talking to me.
Sorry.
Can't make her love me. I can't make her want to talk to me. I can't make her call. I can't make her do anything. So, I'm just not okay. I never in a million years imagined that I would have a daughter.
I also think that it's fucking crazy that her daughter went off and found some piece on the internet and made a TikTok and has, you know, followers and fans and people sending her gifts, and then the daughter made a response video. Shut the shit up. But I think it's crazy that the daughter went off to TikTok, found some kind of embrace in social media, and her mom was like, well, I'm gonna go online too. I'm gonna have an online presence too. Like, are you competing with your daughter too? God, what a weirdo. Like, you really are one weird
Who would just cut me out of her life. That's the thing. I put a lot of love and resources and time and energy, and she rejected me. And it's hard not to hold a grudge.
Be a better person.
Admitting that I was angry and holding a grudge was really hard because that's not who I am. I binged on her TikTok again and found some references to us, including a video dedicated to what she'd learned during no contact with her parents. I sat down with Ted and we watched together.
She reacted to her daughter's, like, why I stopped talking to my parents video. That is so, like, abusive on another level. It's like, well, if you're not gonna talk to me, then I'm gonna push your boundaries online. I can't get to you on a personal level. I'll push your boundaries online, and I'll do it here, like on a public space. And the other thing that's really unfortunate for the kid is, like I said, it's just a whole nother form of abuse. And it's like, what can she do other than, you know, responding to what? Like, what can she do?
Strings attached.
Yeah, you love her as long as she does what you want. You love her conditionally. You pretend to love her unconditionally while there are conditions. Oh my God. You have it, Nicole?
She was tactful, but the comments supporting her decision to dump us were really hard to take. We also learned that she's been diagnosed with ADHD and high-functioning autism, which was news to us.
And I knew that explained some of her behavior. We never knew.
Wow!
We would have taken her to doctors.
ADHD and autism don't make you stop talking to your parents, you dummy.
We didn't see it. She seemed like a normal kid to us.
I'm convinced that this lady is like saying the most outlandish possible, the most outlandish, because if she gets more hate, it'll make her feel more secure in her victimhood. Like, she brings about a situation where people are gonna call her a dumb, and then she gets to say, oh, whoa, it's me, all of this because my daughter stopped talking to me. This is how goofy.
Throughout this whole ordeal, I've continued my daily meditation practice, and afterwards I usually spend a few minutes reading from some inspirational book. At one point, I was reading about living a compassionate life, and when I got to the chapter on forgiveness, wow.
Lately, I've been thinking about forgiveness. Forgiving her, but forgiveness for myself. But mostly myself. Because isn't it help to blame yourself when something like this happens to a child that you've raised and put all your love and energy in? Everything.
And you're a bad parent. She like genuinely does not realize that she was a bad parent.
That's about the good.
Letting go of our anger is a way of being compassionate towards ourselves. Anger keeps us stuck in the past.
Like, dude, why is it that alcoholic or like drug addicted parents or like deadbeat dads will be there quicker to say like, I'm sorry I wasn't there? They'll just say it. But this self-victimizing parent is just like, you're not getting it. Like, you're not. Now, granted, sometimes the self-victimizer is also wrapped up in the other one. But I feel like sometimes the alcoholic parent will come around and be like, down, and you're like, oh, thank God, you know?
Towards ourselves. Anger keeps us stuck in the past, obsessing over what has already happened. Forgiveness does not ignore the harm or justify a person's misdeeds, but it releases the pain and anger connected to them.
Dude.
I debated texting happy birthday. Today is my daughter's.
Also, every day that she texts her and says happy birthday, it's an excuse for her to feel bad for herself because she probably knows she's not getting that text back, but also it's a moment of opportunity. Her birthday is such a great time for this lady because it's an opportunity to text or to feel bad about herself and be, oh, whoa, it's me. It's a great day. It's a great day for her.
Birthday. She is 29, and she hasn't spoken with us for 2.5 years now. And that has been very difficult to deal with. But I'm learning to accept it because that's all I can do. The last text I sent was happy birthday last year.
What a loser.
So she is lost to us now at this point. And this was not something we ever envisioned for our lives. Oh God, I'm gonna cry.
If you were a good parent, even if you got estranged for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, if you were as good of a parent as you claim to be in this video, you would sit there and you would wait until your child decided to come back. You wouldn't decide, well, I'm gonna cut her off too, when you decided that you wanted to take your power back as you finally moved through some emotions. You wouldn't do that. You would wait, you would sit there and wait with open arms.
I actually was gonna make it through this without crying, but
Mission is complete. Good work.
She needs therapy.
it's like she's dead, but she's not. And I'm grateful that she's not.
She just doesn't
And I'm
like
grateful
you.
that she's on social media somewhere. If I feel the need to go see her, I can see her. So, happy birthday, Haley. I wish you all the best.
Happy birthday, Haley. This is her abusive mother's gift to her. A humiliating video online because Haley decided to set boundaries 2 years ago. You sick woman. You're a sick person. You are a sick person. Abuse is not just like a physical attack or verbal abuse outright or anything. Like, this is also abuse. And she's a bad parent.
And what you're doing. I admire that you're following your dreams and you're doing what you believe is right. And I hope you are loved and surrounded by people who truly love you, not for some persona that you may be online, but for who you truly are as a person.
That's also abusive. These people online don't know you. I know you. I know you. I know you better than you know yourself. Sickening. Who edited this?
And I know you're a kind soul with a really big heart.
Yeah, and this kind soul doesn't fucking like you.
And so I hope you find a place to express that love and find someones who appreciate that love and reflect it back.
What, blocked.
I want to talk about this. Joe Rogan apparently has a new special on Netflix, and rumor has it that it's dog shit. Apparently, there's a joke in this special that was filmed in 2024, as far as I know, where he says that you can't assume his gender or something. We're talking about 2017 era transphobia.
We've lost the lead.
But he's playing all the greatest hits. I'm assuming he's got some my pronouns are blank blank. He's got some I identify as X. But there's a specific portion in here where he kind of just like lets his casual homophobia out of the box. And it's very interesting that somebody who looks like this would say the thing that he's going to say. So let me read the specific passage. I shared this on Twitter, but at another point, he insisted that he is not homophobic. Quote, I love gay men, but I think about gay men the same way. I think about mountain lions. I'm happy they're real, but I don't want to be surrounded by them. Okay, so he doesn't want to be around a bunch of gay guys. That's explicitly homophobic, but why? They're a bunch of dudes who fuck dudes. I don't like my chances, okay? Hang on. You're Joe Rogan. Your head looks like a big toe. You don't like your chances? You don't like your chances. I'm sorry. Don't fucking flatter yourself. I promise you, you're not gonna get hit on by gay guys. They don't want to fuck you. Gay people find you repulsive. Gay men, straight women, all find you repulsive because you are. You're not just ugly on the outside. You're also ugly on the inside. You've got nothing going for you aside from money. But that still, there's not enough money in the world to get somebody to want to fuck that sweaty ass bald-headed bitch. This is hilarious to me that he doesn't want to be around gay people because he thinks that he's just so attractive that they're going to be all over him. Whoa, come on, look in the fucking mirror. And but it goes to show you that some homophobes, they're delusional. They're borderline delusional. When I just had come out, I was like 23 years old. I went bowling with some coworkers, and one of my coworkers worked at a second job, and one of her coworkers showed up with her husband. This is more middle-aged people. Her coworker was like, I don't know, 45, 50, and she brought her husband. And so they were bowling too. I didn't know these people. They were just there, but they knew that I was gay. I'm not really sure how they knew. Well, I mean, maybe they suspected, right? But either way, I guess that they knew I was gay. And so her husband goes up to, to bowl. And this, like, middle-aged, sweaty-ass slob, before he rolls the ball, stops, turns around and looks at me and says, "Hey, you're not checking my ass, are you?" And I'm just like, excuse me? Like, that wasn't my reaction. I just, like, was like, huh? I just laughed it off. But, like, internally, I'm like, I'm sorry. Hang on a second. Do you just assume that gay dudes have no standards? Why do you think that any gay guy or straight woman would be so attracted to you? You are a disgusting, stinky slob, and you think that people want to fuck you? Excuse me? It's just it was so mind-blowing to me because it's like, oh, wow. Homophobia stems from a delusional part where these guys just think, oh my God, if I go out to a gay bar, gay men are going to be jumping all over me. I mean, sure, there are straight men who gay men find attractive, duh, obviously, right? But, like, why is it always the most disgusting ones that are like, oh, I know I'm a fucking hit in the gay community? No, you're not. No, you're not. Stop. Who told you this? Did your wife tell you that? Like, oh my God, watch out for those gays because they're gonna want to fucking to claw them up. It's so weird to me. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's so bizarre. If you're with women, straight men do the women. Eliana, that is such a good point, right? That's such a good point. I think that it is projection, right? Because, maybe they're overly horny and they're putting on women and don't respect women. They think that gay men are going to treat them the same way. I think that is such a perfect point, and it makes so much sense. So, getting back to this, it's funny. So, this is just bizarre. So elsewhere in the special, Rogan joked about that he wished he was gay, so he could continue to use homophobic slurs with impunity, which he did anyway, using the word "f***ing" to thunderous applause from his audience. I don't understand this. You're like, man, I wish I was gay because I would say the F slur, and then he just says the F slur. Okay, so why'd you wish you were gay to say the F slur if you're just gonna say it anyway? I don't get it. And I feel like there are people who think that they get so much power from saying that word, but it's not. Like, you're just like a child, right? You're just a child. There's the Republican congressional candidate, what's her name? Valentina Gomez, where she released a video on Twitter, and she was running for Missouri. Was it Missouri? Secretary of State. I'm not sure. She got her cheeks clapped, but beforehand, she released a video where she was calling gay people F slurs. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She was calling Imani Khalif and trans women F slurs, but she was referencing a cis woman, so good job fucking that up. And then she did a separate video where she was talking about, like, how gays wanted to kill her dogs and her dad. And I was like, God damn. Like, this is actually the plot from the second season of White Lotus.
These gays, they're trying to murder me.
It's so genuinely fucking unhinged. But yeah, I mean, bro, you're not edgy for saying this. This is like me when I'm fucking 10 years old dropping the F slur. I feel like it's to think that you have power from saying these words. It's a very immature thing. But let's go to see what he says about trans people. So, because it's going to be bad, obviously. But He also whined about not being able to use certain slurs anymore and suggested that transgender people are crazy and perverted. Yeah, they're the ones crazy, as he spent the last 2 years spreading conspiracy theories on his fucking podcast, which he addresses, by the way. I'm kind of reading this backwards, but regardless, if you're getting your vaccine advice from me, is that really my fault? Yeah, it is, because you attract stupid people. And if you tell stupid people as a stupid person that they should take your stupid advice and they do it, yeah, that's kind of your fault. That's called responsibility. It's called having a platform. But he's like, you can't listen to me. I'm stupid. Okay, great endorsement of yourself, but that doesn't let you off the hook. But he says, I believe trans people because I think the world is strange and nature is strange, and I think nature can throw you a curveball and you believe you're in the wrong body. And I fully support your right as an adult to do whatever you want that makes you happy. Then why do you keep bringing on guests that say that trans people shouldn't be allowed to exist, that gender affirming care should be banned? That's the position of Matt Walsh. That's the position of Jordan Peterson. So you platform these people who don't actually believe in freedom for trans people, and yet you say, oh no, I'm an ally. I believe trans people are a thing because, nature's crazy. Okay, good job. You've come to the conclusion that the millions of trans people that exist around the world, they're not all faking it. I don't know what you want me to do with this information. This just makes you sound like a fucking dumbass, even though he's trying to code this as him being supportive, right? But he's trying to set up him being a pseudo supporter so he can drop the transphobic bomb. That's usually what they do. He started out with the gay person. I love gay people. I love gay men. But they all want to fuck me, and that's crazy. Okay. So I believe in freedom and I believe in love, but I also believe in crazy people. It's so ironic coming from him. This man has no self-awareness whatsoever. I just want to know what happened. He continued. It's almost like a pervert wizard waved a magic spell on the whole world with the wave of this wand. You can walk into the women's locker room with a hard cock, and anybody who complains is a Nazi. Abracadabra. Okay, this is so stupid. I get that he's not being serious because it's a joke, but do you honestly believe, Joe, that trans people just materialized a couple of years ago? Do you actually think that all of a sudden everyone was just I'm trans? There was some sort of a switch and it was flipped, and then all the people who had that, little chip in their brains, they're like, oh, now's the time, the transition. I mean, this is so fucking stupid. And believe it or not, this is the view of a lot of trans folks. They just think that they existed just for the last couple of years. They just suddenly materialized. This is what Trump said, right? This is a new thing. If you watch the video where he talks about wanting to ban gender affirming care for everyone, he says, oh, this is a new thing. This has never happened before. Trans people have always existed. You can go back to the furthest records in history. They've always existed. You're just too stupid to know that. And now they're saying we want rights. We're just like you all. We deserve equal treatment. This is the same thing that happened with gay people. And then, the homophobes back then were like, what's going on? It's like an epidemic. Is it contagious? Everybody's just gay all of a sudden. No, they're just coming out. And you're just mad. Just leave them alone. Let them do what they want to be. Let them be gay and happy. Fuck off. But I love how he comes up with this, you can just walk into the women's locker room with a hard cock, and anybody who complains is a Nazi. Why don't you give us an example of this? Give us an example. Can't do that, huh? I wonder why. And it just works, and everyone just accepts this new reality, and it's fucking weird. I just think we need standards. You can't just put lipstick on, and now you can shit in the women's room. I don't think that that's what people are doing. They're not just I'm curious about what the woman's room looks like, so let me put on a wig and lipstick. You just said you believe that trans people are real because, nature, right? You said it in a very fucked up, stupid, patronizing way, but you said you think trans people are weird, but now you're contradicting yourself and you're like, oh no, they're just putting on lipstick real quick to go in the woman's room to shit. Okay, even if that's true, if somebody puts on a wig or they put on lipstick and they pretend to be a woman and they're not really trans and they go to shit, is that really the biggest deal in the world? Where they're like, oh, let me just shit in this other bathroom. I think you're grasping, Joe Rogan, you're grasping at straws here because you're a bigot. You're a homophobe and a transphobe. And I think that you don't like that you're on the wrong side of history and you know it. Because for the most part, he was pretty accepting of gay people and he was always seen as somebody who was nominally progressive. But now, since he's been bringing on far-right lunatics on his program and cozied up to the far right, you know, he doesn't like that he's getting called a bigot. But to that I say, if you don't want to be called a bigot, stop being a bigot. Nobody's forcing you to say these prejudiced things about gay and trans people. You're doing that on your own volition. So, you know, you can, listen, here's the great thing about being a transphobe or a homophobe, you can always stop. I know a lot of people who are very homophobic and they stopped. Guess what? I'm cool with them. We all learn. I think you should meet people where they are. So it's not like, you know, you are permanently going to be transphobe, homophobe. I think that some of the best allies are former homophobes because they can explain in a way to other homophobes that will resonate with them. So, you know, it's not like you're just persona non grata forever. You can change, but he's choosing not to because he's genuinely prejudiced. He's a bigot. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that, but to go back to the original point of the story, Joe Rogan, I promise you don't have to worry about anything. I don't think any gay person is going to have a problem if you walk into the room. If anything, you know, you might hear some dry heaving because I'm sure the smell is going to change drastically once you enter the room, but they don't want to fuck you, bud. They don't want to fuck you. You have nothing to worry about. And if you think that maybe, you know, being around gay people is threatening because they all want to fuck you, odds are you're a little bit too confident and should really humble yourself. Okay? Come back down to reality. You're not that big of a catch.
I'm gay.
Gay.
I'm transgender.
We're taking out. Capture 2 objectives. Get them secure.
From losing over 700,000 subscribers, as well as the respect of his own fan base, iDubbbz is without a doubt facing one of the worst downfalls in YouTube history.
A good amount of people are just doing the reasonable thing and just making jokes and laughing about it. But there's a whole nother group of people who feel personally devastated and betrayed. You lied to us.
All of this begs the question, how did one of YouTube's most iconic creators become the laughingstock in the eyes of both his fans and the broader internet community? Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be diving into the controversial career and downward spiral of iDubbbz, the creator who built his career on criticizing others, but fell victim to it himself. iDubbbz started his journey on YouTube in 2012, and almost immediately he began uploading content. The first long-running series on his channel was titled Kickstarter Crap, which saw iDubbbz making fun of various lackluster Kickstarter projects.
Hello everyone and welcome back to more Kickstarter crap. Today the piece of crap that we're looking at is called Paintball Panda, the Bamboo Tales, your new everyday game.
Although these videos were nothing more than simple rants, iDubbbz's unique style of presentation and sense of humor set him apart from other channels, which allowed him to rapidly increase his viewer base, growing from a few 100,000 viewers per upload to over 1 million. This critical approach to making videos would bleed into his other projects and eventually lead to the creation of iDubbbz's most popular series, Content Comp.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Content Comp. Today's theme on Content Comp is equality. This time I'm gonna make a video about a woman with a... We're talking about Tana Noju.
Each upload in the Content Cop series saw iDubbbz break down and berate a specific controversial creator with several edgy jokes and funny sketches mixed in. Over the years, iDubbbz would cover the likes of Tana Mojo, Leafeus Here, and Keemstar, which gave him a reputation for being one of the most ruthless commentary channels on YouTube. Combine this with unhinged collaborations with creators like Filthy Frank, Max Mofo, and Anything for Views, and it was only a matter of time before iDubbbz reached legendary status on the platform. iDubbbz's creativity would inspire a whole generation of other creators to follow in his footsteps. While iDubbbz would later move away from the extremely edgy content, he managed to retain a majority of his fan base and seemed to be comfortable exploring other avenues of creativity. Unfortunately for iDubbbz, he was about to be put onto the fans, and it wouldn't be for the content he created. In March 2020, iDubbbz's girlfriend, Anissa Jomha, published a tweet announcing she'd be making an OF account and began promoting it to both of their fan bases. I'm very excited to announce my Loot OF launch. Check me out in the link below. I'm very excited to provide cute cosplay photo sets and more. Hard devil face. Under normal circumstances, announcements like this would generally go unnoticed, but Anissa's connection to iDubbbz would incite a response from his community. Seriously, Rick, iDubbbz has fallen. I can't believe Ian was a simple along. I'm sort of disappointed. Really, iDubbbz, more like iCuts. While the comments from viewers were mostly lighthearted trolling, iDubbbz would deem it necessary to respond to the subset of fans that reacted negatively to the situation.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of iDubbbz Complain. This is a very special episode where I get to tackle two topics that I've recently become very passionate about. That is a section of my audience who thinks they know me and my opinion on sex work.
Following this, iDubbbz would directly attack members of his audience who didn't approve of Anissa's new line of work and made it clear he didn't care about their opinion.
A good amount of people are just doing the reasonable thing and just making jokes and laughing about it. But there's a whole nother group of people who feel personally devastated and betrayed. First up, we got Edward. He probably got told by a lot of people that he looks like iDubbbz. And he really liked that because iDubbbz was cool. But now that iDubbbz is a simp, now he's gonna go in full baby Wawa mode.
To try and prove the situation wasn't a big deal, iDubbbz claimed OF content had no impact on someone's future job prospects or social standing, which was an uphill argument.
I think this is one of the most important opinions to highlight because it really demonstrates a severe lack of real-world experience when you're saying that future jobs are going to be harder to come by because of an OnlyFans account. Like, if you think this affects your standing or your social credibility in getting jobs, you are so sadly mistaken. This is straight out of the playbook of the boomer who's decaying in his lazy boy, who wants to tell you, no, that ain't gonna work. No one's gonna hire you looking like that.
Even though the video attempted to present several compelling points, the fact that iDubbbz was making a response to what most people would consider a non-issue only amplified the negativity towards him and his girlfriend. One of the easiest ways to amplify negativity to yourself in real life is by smelling bad. The worst part about it is that most people won't even tell you that you Most of the commentary community acknowledged that the controversy was overblown. They also made it clear that iDubbbz's response only made the situation much worse.
While he was getting into this video talking about, the fans that he's cultivated that are highly toxic, he went on them and he finally gave them what they want, an emotional reaction. This would have died a week later anyways. Nobody would have talked about it. Get bored and start playing fucking Furcadia afterwards.